Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, and we just have a few more days left in the month of June. But of course, every news headlines coming up on this Monday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with rocket scientist turned astronaut John Higginbotham. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In national news, families frustrated by slow pace of condo collapse rescue. Rescuers digging through the rubble of a Florida beachfront condo sought to reassure families that they were doing as much as possible to find missing loved ones, but the crews said they needed to work carefully for the best chance of uncovering survivors. As the death toll rose on Sunday to 9, relatives grew increasingly desperate for news and worried about the slow progress and dwindling hopes. No one has been pulled alive from the pile since Thursday, hours after the collapse. Some family members were taken by bus on Sunday to a location near the site after relatives frustrated with the pace of rescue efforts demanded to visit the scene. More than 150 people are still unaccounted for in Surfside, and authorities and loved ones fear the toll will go much higher. Scores of rescue workers remain on the massive pile of rubble, searching for survivors, but so far finding only bodies and human remains. In a meeting with families Saturday evening, people moaned and wept as Miami-Dade Assistant Fire Chief explained why he could not answer their repeated questions about how many victims they had found. It's not necessarily that we're finding victims, okay? We're finding human remains, the fire chief said, according to a video posted on Instagram. He noted the pancake collapse of the 12-story building, which had crumbled into a rubble pile that could be measured in feet. Those conditions have frustrated crews looking for survivors. Every time crews find remains, they clean the area and remove the remains. They work with a rabbi to ensure any religious rituals are done properly. So the question is why is things taking so long? The chief said. What we're doing is making sure that everything is followed to a T. If crews find any artifacts, such as documents, pictures, or money, they turn them over to police, officials said. Authorities said their efforts are still a search and rescue operation. The chief of the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Department said they are holding out hope finding someone alive, but they must be slow and methodical. In meetings with authorities, family members repeatedly pushed rescuers to do more. One asked why they could not surgically remove the largest pieces of cement with cranes to try to uncover bigger voids where survivors might be found. There's not giant pieces that we can easily surgically remove, said the member of the fire rescue agency who described herself as one of the people out there attempting to find your family members. Pieces are crumbled and they're being held together by the rebar that's part of the construction. So if we try to lift that piece, even as carefully, those pieces that are crumbling can fall off the sides and disturb the pile. In more national news, bipartisan infrastructure deal back on track after walkback. A bipartisan deal to invest nearly $1 trillion in the nation's infrastructure appeared to be back on track Sunday after a stark walkback by President Joe Biden to his earlier insistence that the bill be coupled with an even larger Democrat-backed measure in order to earn his signature. Republican senators who brokered the agreement with the White House and Democrats to fund badly needed investments in road, bridges, water, and broadband internet indicated they were satisfied with Biden's comments that he was dropping the both or nothing approach. In a statement issued Saturday, after 48 hours of behind-the-scenes maneuvering by the White House to salvage the deal, Biden said it was not his intent to suggest he was issuing a veto threat on the bill. That proved to be enough for some wavering Republicans who have privately and not so privately registered their displeasure at the linkage. The bipartisan accord has been a key priority for Biden as he tries to deliver on a campaign promise to restore bipartisanship to Washington and to show centrist Democrats and others that the White House was working with Republicans before Biden tries to push the broader package through Congress. In more national news, as variant rises, vaccine plan target movable middle. Thrown off stride to reach its COVID-19 vaccination goal, the Biden administration is sending A-list officials across the country, devising ads for niche markets, and enlisting community organizers to persuade unvaccinated people to get a shot. The strategy has the trappings of a political campaign, complete with data crunching to identify groups that can be won over. But the message is about public health, not ideology. The focus is a group health officials term the movable middle, some 55 million unvaccinated adults seen as persuadable, many of them under 30. And finally, in entertainment news, F9 puts charge back into movie theaters with $70 million opening. In the strongest sign yet that life is left in movie theaters, F9 sped to a box office take of $70 million in its first weekend, the biggest opening for a film since the pandemic began, according to studio estimates on Sunday. The ninth installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, starring franchise regulars Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, opened only in theaters and had the widest release of any movie since the start of the coronavirus crisis. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. Always allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. You must respect the rights of others who may be affected by your decision. When your needs are at odds with another's, you may need to address a compromise. Conflict resolution is important in any relationship and is not hindered by indecision. Think carefully about what you wish to achieve in the long run. Is your decision or compromise in accordance with your ultimate goal? When you feel good in your knowings about the choice you have made, you know it is the correct choice, compromise, decision, or etc. Today, allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. And remember, enjoy your day.
Joan Higginbotham is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight for him, Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Rocket scientist turned NASA astronaut Joan Higginbotham joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk to us about her experience in space and what it was like for her to do what she loves. Here's a bit of our conversation.
It's so interesting because when we think about space exploration, the environmental movement, those two have kind of gone together for quite some time, I think. And that's one of the interesting things. You've been able to enjoy this great space, Joan, not only, of course, as a scientist, but also as an astronaut. First of all, what is it like for you to kind of reflect on your own experience in space and what it was like for you to be able to enjoy that?
So, Cyrus, it was absolutely a dream come true. Especially after spending 9 years sending astronauts up into space and getting them back home safely. So when it was my turn, I was just in absolute awe of what I got to do and how I got to represent my country and help build the International Space Station. It was 13 incredible, awe-inspiring, absolutely magical days that I spent quite literally off the face of this earth. And I think it's an experience that would absolutely stay with me for the rest of my life.
I think we all, Joan, are glued to our television or our screens anytime there is a launch because we like to be able to see what the astronauts have to go through in preparing. Those interviews are always so fascinating for me. What were some of the biggest practical challenges, though, of living in space for you?
Some of the biggest practical challenges are the things that we just absolutely take for granted here on Earth. So getting up in the morning and taking the cap off of the toothpaste and set it down on the counter doesn't work so well when you're in space. So some of those things you have to really think through very well. Things like during laundry, because you're exercising for 30 minutes every day for 13 days, you and your 6 crewmates, and you're airing out your laundry and letting it dry outside of your lockers, and it gets a little gamey. So being able to do laundry would have been a really wonderful thing had we had that capability.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.